So I've never owned a professional camera. I started on an iPhone 5 filming content. This thing shoots 4K at 60 or 120 frames per second. So it's professional quality. You don't need anything more than an iPhone. And there are apps that will now allow you to edit right on your phone, like CapCut. There are plenty of other apps. So you can get away now with creating great content with really minimal investment in terms of what you need for equipment.
Welcome to the Raquel Show. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And as many of you guys know, I always love bringing people that love to play bigger. And today I have a very special guest who I actually met virtually first and just with the power of social media. And then we actually met in person a few weeks ago as I got to speak at his event in North Vancouver. I speak on several different stages, and I will tell you that Craig, who you're about to hear from, is probably one of the best hosts that I've ever come across when it comes to hosting an event. And as I've gotten to know him more, I've asked him to come on the show because he brings over 13 years of experience of selling real estate in North Vancouver. And that, by the way, for those that are listening, is on my radar to own property in Vancouver of some sort, and is recognized as one of the top 50 influencers for 3 consecutive years. He's obviously doing something right. Craig leverages his background as, get this, as an award-winning actor and crafts compelling narratives for his listings. He combines the old with the new world consumer behavior and stays ahead of the industry. His YouTube channel has almost 10,000 subscribers, and he's really built a brand in the North Vancouver area. With video becoming a trend in the real estate industry, I thought it was important to bring an expert like Craig, who has so much experience and wisdom to share. So welcome to the show, Craig Veroni.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be here.
It is an honor to have you, and I want to dive right into it. When did you decide to actually incorporate video into your business?
It was about my 5th year in business. So I had been in real estate for about 5 years up to that point. And I was sitting in what was called Video Boot Camp. It was a course put on by Jesse Peters and Michael Thorne, both of who you met at the event. And they would do this boot camp all over North America. In fact, all over the world. It's a 2-day intensive process about teaching agents how to use video in their business. And that's when the light bulb went off for me. For the first 5 years of my career, coming from an acting background, working professionally in theater and television, primarily film and television, for over a decade, I felt like I had to put on a suit, figuratively and literally, in order to be a business person in real estate. And it wasn't until that 5th year in the business where I finally felt like I was just being myself. I was my authentic self, and I could utilize all of those skills that I had acquired and spent working on for over a decade in my new career. And it transformed the trajectory of my real estate business.
So I want to get into all of that because you come from the background of being an actor. How do you approach content today?
The acting training only serves me on camera because I know what to do on camera, more so than someone who's never been on video before. Everything else, I knew nothing about. I knew nothing about editing. I knew a little bit about the filming side of things, but I had to learn everything. So my approach would not be any different from anyone else's approach who's starting out in video. I just know a little bit more about how to come across effectively on camera. And so when people ask me, what should I do to start? How should I start? I always tell them, when I started, I was like you. I knew nothing about what videos to create, what content to shoot. I had to do some research. I had to figure out what my own voice was. And that was one of the key things about my new keynote, which you saw where I spoke at the event, is finding your voice, figuring out what you have to say, right? Because we're all unique. There's only one you, there's only one Raquel, and you're the one that people hire when clients want to list or buy with you. They're not hiring your brokerage. They're not hiring the people that surround you. They're hiring you. And if you can work effectively in this business, one-to-one with clients, you can translate that into video.
Yeah, so good. And when you go into video, I can already hear some of the agents going, well, do you start with one video and do you go to one platform? Do you go to YouTube? I barely have time to deal with my clients. Now, how do I get started when it comes to really building the brand or using video marketing in your business?
Yeah. Those are all great questions. And I think the easy answer is figuring out what your specific goal would be. So if someone's looking to start video for the first time or ramp up their video content, what's the goal? What you have to figure out, why am I doing this? The reason I started my YouTube channel was because I was at a great conference with Karen Carr. You probably know Karen. She literally wrote the book on YouTube for real estate agents. And when I heard her say that 75% of her business was generated from YouTube, that stopped me in my tracks. I immediately thought, I want that business. I don't want to be out hunting for business. I want people to find me and come to me. And I would love 75% of my business to come from a place like YouTube. And within 3 years of starting my YouTube channel, I achieved that. So, in under 3 years, I was able to get to that level, getting 75% of my business from YouTube. So figuring out the goal is crucial. Why are you doing this? Why are you creating video content? And once you know why you want to do it, then it's easy to figure out, well, then what content do I want to put out there into the world for that audience? Who are the people that I'm trying to attract? Who are the people that I want to work with? And then put out content based on that.
You brought up something earlier when it comes to finding out trends. So because you said that majority of your business, 75% of your business comes from YouTube, do you find that there are certain videos, or what are the videos that you feel are hitting right now? Or how do you actually find what do you watch when it comes to trends?
The best videos for anyone starting out on YouTube. And I love YouTube simply because of the fact that it's a searchable platform, right? So when people are going to YouTube, they're searching for something specific. If someone's on Instagram, they're scrolling, they may stop on your content, but they're not searching for that content specifically. With YouTube, it's different. They're going there with a purpose in mind, looking for something specific. And that's the beauty of YouTube. I would say, if you're starting a YouTube channel, whatever city you're in, start with the 5 best videos I feel that any agent could start with, which is where to live in my city, right? So where to live in North Vancouver, the cost of living in North Vancouver, pros and cons of living in North Vancouver. And you can apply these to any city. When I first started, I didn't want to be specific to, because North Vancouver is a smaller city. Vancouver's right across the bridge. So I started with all my videos were about Vancouver. So where to live in Vancouver, the cost of living in Vancouver, because those were higher. The search terms and search traffic for that was much higher than for North Vancouver. So I started with Vancouver, and then just kept working out with different cities. So those kinds of videos, and then the neighborhood video tours that I saw a niche that was lacking. I thought, if I'm moving to a new city, what are the things that I would be looking for? I'm going to be looking for what it's like to live there. And when I was looking around at people's videos, there was no one doing video content on that level. Right? Talking about what a neighborhood was like, really showcasing the neighborhood, showcasing the businesses, the schools, and that sort of thing. So when I set about to do my neighborhood video tours initially, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it at super high level, like Brad McCallum level of quality. I don't know if I ever achieved that, but that was the goal, was to do something cinematically beautiful while incorporating all the information that someone might be looking for that particular city. So those have been huge hits for me. And that's where the majority of my business comes from, because I think I've filmed, I don't know, 70 or 80 neighborhoods around Metro Vancouver.
And do
Today.
you batch that, Craig? Do you have it all planned out, or is it go with the flow? We're driving. I have a listing appointment. I'm going to record real quick.
No, I wish I could do it off the cuff and on the fly. The neighborhood video tours are the most time-consuming videos to film. I would not recommend doing neighborhood video tours the way I did them if you're just starting out, because they're so time-consuming. All the research that goes into it, researching those neighborhoods, if you're not familiar with that particular neighborhood and you don't live there on a day-to-day basis, even though Vancouver's just across the water and just across the bridge, East Vancouver, the west side, there are parts of Vancouver that I don't travel in every single day, and things change in neighborhoods. So it's always important when you're going to go film a neighborhood video tour to make sure that you're up to date on everything in that neighborhood. So there's a lot of research that goes into these videos and scripting before I go out to film them. So I would not recommend someone starting out with a neighborhood video tour. Now, there are people who have done neighborhood video tours just driving, like you said earlier. You said, can I just hop in my car and do a neighborhood tour that way? I've seen people have huge success with driving tours like that. I've just never done one myself, but there are people who have.
So you plan out your content, you say you script it out because you have to do the research and you want to deliver something that's very educational, because they're obviously searching, consumers are searching on YouTube. What does your team look like today? Do you have a videographer? I'm sure people ask, who should I hire when I start deciding to go all in on video?
So for the first 3 or 4 years, I was doing everything myself. All the research, all the scripting, all the filming, all the editing. And it was way too much for me to handle on top of, it was a full-time job on top of my full-time job.
Those are a couple full-time jobs.
Yes. And I actually got to a point where it broke me, because I actually had to stop, and I took a month off, and then I had to come back to it. And then I was only putting out, instead of one video a week, I was one a month. So it was very hard to get back to it. But so now I have a videographer. I've had my videographer for 2 years, just over 2 years now. I love it. I love it because if I need to film something, I call Santiago. He comes, he shows up, he has all the equipment. We film it. I still do the scripting. I still have to do research and scripting and stuff like that and come up with video content, but all the editing and all the filming's left to Santiago, and that's off my plate. And it would take me a lot longer to do that job than to hire someone to do it. So it was a no-brainer for me when I was debating whether I hire an assistant for my business to do all the admin and paperwork, or a videographer and editor, the videographer and editor was by far the more lucrative and best ROI for my business.
And is that now the same person, the videographer and the editor, or they're two different people?
I have one person that does both. So Santiago films and edits my videos. Yeah. Some people have different people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you know what it is? Let's just say, how do you know what a good videographer looks like? What did you look for, especially coming from the film industry? And you probably had a vision of a certain way that you wanted videos.
Yeah, absolutely. I already had a track record of what my videos looked like. I wanted someone who could emulate my style, emulate the style that I was aiming for. And essentially, I simply wanted someone who was going to be able to do what I was already doing, but do it far better than I could do it. So that's what I was looking for. I was just looking for a professional that could do it better than I could at a much higher level. When people are starting out now, you don't need to hire a videographer or editor or go buy expensive equipment. This is the whole point of my keynote was
Yeah.
when you're starting out in video, literally to this day, I still use this to film. So I've never owned a professional camera. I started on an iPhone 5 filming content. This thing shoots 4K at 60 or 120 frames per second. So it's professional quality. You don't need anything more than an iPhone. And there are apps that will now allow you to edit right on your phone, like CapCut. There are plenty of other apps. So you can get away now with creating great content with really minimal investment in terms of what you need for equipment. Investing in a good microphone is key. Audio is really important, and a few other essentials, a tripod and maybe a gimbal, really inexpensive things that will allow you to start creating content right away without a massive investment. And then there are also great companies that if you want to just hand your stuff off to a professional and you don't want to edit on your phone and you want someone to edit your videos for you, there are a lot of great people. Fiverr is a great place to go source out something like that, or word of mouth around asking other agents or other people who are using video that may use services like that. That's also a great thing to you film your own content and then you just hand it off to someone else. Karen Carr does that, or did do that a lot. I know she used to film all of her stuff and then handed it off to an editor, which she found on Fiverr, and they would cut everything together for her and she would have those assets to deliver to social media.
So now the question is, how did you find Santiago? Was that through word of mouth for those that are listening, that are getting started in video or want to up their video game?
I ran an ad. So I ran an ad on Facebook and I just put it out there for what I was looking for. And I interviewed several people before settling on Santiago.
Okay. And was there anything in particular that you were looking for with, I mean, because they come in all sizes, I think, in all creativity like realms when it comes to videography.
What set Santiago apart from others were I was looking for someone who had gone to film school, had training. So I wanted someone who had a degree in what I was looking for. So I had gone to some sort of film school, whether that was here. Santiago actually went to film school in his hometown. And that's what I was looking for. Someone who was trained and had that experience. It's also fine to find someone who's fresh out of film school or close to graduating, because if you're starting out and they're starting out, they're trained, but they may not have a portfolio behind them yet. Fees might be a little cheaper and they're hungry to get that work, right? They might be looking to partner with someone great in order to build up a portfolio of assets that they can market themselves out as well.
Yeah. So now that you've got your team, you've got your tools, and it looks like you produce what, a video, at least one a week on your YouTube, is what I saw.
Yeah, we usually try to put out at least one a week for sure.
What's your cadence? Do you have a cadence or a routine for when you batch in your video and then if it goes on several different platforms?
I'm terrible at batching content. I'm horrible at that. I need to get better. It's one of my goals for this year is to get better at batching content. My life is just so busy, and because I'm doing everything, it's great having a videographer and having him edit the videos, but I still have to do everything else. So sometimes the planning of these things gets left as a last priority. So sometimes it's just like, okay, let's get this one filmed, or let's get this one filmed today. So instead of trying to do everything on one day. And I know for specific content, batching is amazing. And if you can do it, great. It's one of my goals to do better batching this year. What was the question? I lost my.
But you actually plan, I said, what does your cadence look like? Did you and Santiago plan what you're going to film? Or, because I mean, you're one of the top 50 real estate video influencers for 3 years. I'm like, what's his secret sauce to behind the scenes?
The cadence was once a week.
Okay.
And then it goes on YouTube. Usually on Sunday, it goes on YouTube, and then it'll go on all the other platforms either that day or the day after. So also on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm not really on TikTok. I have a channel, but I'm not consistent on TikTok. More short form content is also a goal for me this year because my focus was on YouTube. YouTube's more of a long form channel. So trying to find that balance between, as you said, the cadence of once or twice a week on YouTube, but also having shorter pieces that we can put out more consistently and more frequently on places like TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you find is the most engaging video content that resonates with your target audience that you had talked about earlier, like finding who you're speaking to?
The most engaging content for people reaching out to me are my neighborhood video tours. So most of the time, almost every email, text message, or phone call I get, which I get at least one a day from someone reaching out, always starts the same way. Hey, we found you on YouTube. We binge watched your videos, and we think we've narrowed down the area that we want to find a home in. We're moving from here. And I've helped people from all over the world relocate to Vancouver. So it's pretty amazing. And I've actually been recognized more on the street by people for my real estate video content than I ever had previously as an actor. So it's crazy, the reach. And most of the time when people are recognizing me on the street, they're not local. They're people that have watched my videos in Japan or Australia or Mexico and then have come here, found a place to rent here, and they've chosen the place that they're renting based on my videos. So they binged watched the videos, selected an area that appealed to them, found a place to rent, and they run into me on the street. And it's great. And the first thing they say is, thank you so much. We love where we're living. And then when we're ready to buy, we'll be calling you. The power of that is incredible. And I never get over it. It still always shocks me, takes me by surprise. I can't believe that that's happened.
You're a celebrity within your town. And like my mentor, Sharon says, fame is the most efficient business model.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you feel, or where do you see agents make mistakes today when it comes to video content? And what have been like your biggest lessons?
I think the biggest mistake is trying to do too much, trying to do too much too soon. You know, we talked about the fact that more and more people are wanting to get on video. More agents are feeling like they should use video. Video's been around for a long time. Video isn't new. And this is one of the things I talked about in my keynote is, so why now? What's the urgency now for people needing or wanting to get on video? And the urgency, I think, stemmed from the pandemic, where that changed how we viewed content and where we started consuming more and more content from. And I feel like the world has shifted. Most people prefer to get the information and instruction from video, whether that's on YouTube or somewhere else. If they're looking for information, they usually go find a video first, because it's a great way to be instructed about something. I love watching a video when I need to figure out how to do something. If I need to, whether it's learning how to edit something or do something on video related or household related, I go and watch a video about it. And that's what we need to get in the mindset of. That's what our clients are looking for when they're searching for information. So whether that's information about how to buy a home, what it's like to buy a home in your city, what are some of the stumbling blocks, what are some of the key things to know, all of that type of content is important and valuable. But I think a lot of agents try to do too much too soon and get overwhelmed about, my God, I've got a business to run. How am I going to be doing all of this? And sometimes out of the gate, they may create a bunch of videos and then quickly it's too much. It's not sustainable. So they stop. And that's the worst thing that you can do. For me, consistency was the key. If I could commit to one video a week consistently, I'm going to win every time, because now I've been doing it for 5 years, or however many years it's been. I didn't stop at year 1 or year 2. I'm still going. So even someone who's coming in now and starting has a long way to catch up. to the content that I've already put out there. So I would say for most people who are starting out in video, start out with the one-to-one video that Jesse Peters talked about in his keynote, and that I talk about as well. Start out with one-to-one. Start out with videos to your database and your clients so that you can get comfortable on camera. That will automatically kickstart some business for you without even trying really that hard. If you can start to connect with your own database and your own audience regularly through video, you're going to find that's already ramping up production for you. It's going to turn into more sales, more listings. And then you can layer in stuff after that. If you want to put out one larger piece of video, whether it's a neighborhood video tour or some other thing, celebrating a business or anything about your community, you can do that. But start small. Start with something that you can do regularly. So if you can say to yourself, okay, I've looked at my schedule. Fridays, I don't like to work a lot on Fridays. So Fridays are a great day that I can schedule half an hour to sit in front of my computer or my webcam and send 5 personal videos to clients. And if you can do that consistently, you're going to win. I think the biggest mistake is agents try to start too big too quickly instead of just doing a little bit consistently, either every day or every couple of days, and see where that leads before branching out to something more.
I love that you bring that up of starting small, one-to-one, because I can tell you it was Craig's video that actually got me to say, or even pause to say, because I had a retreat that same week, to say, should I do this? But it was that human touch of opening up an email of a video. I'm like, wow, he actually took the time to record a video to ask me to speak at an event. And I think you just automatically stand out from all the other invitations that you potentially get. And that goes the same for clients.
Absolutely. I think it is the most overlooked aspect of our business where you can stand out miles above your competitors. It's such a small thing to do, but any person reaching out to me, the very first response they get from me is a personalized video email. So whether that's me on the go, if I'm out and I can just record on my mobile phone. So I use BombBomb, and BombBomb's amazing, but you can use any other platform, or you don't have to use that. You can just use your camera on your phone. But every interaction, I try to at least have that initial outreach, because someone's taken the time to reach out to me, right? And if someone's taking the time to reach out to you, and then you respond in a way that's completely unexpected for them, the traditional response is a text message, phone call, or email. All perfectly fine means of communication. But if their first impression of you is a response with a personalized video email, that sets the tone for everything. Suddenly, I guarantee you no one else has messaged them that way. Right. And if you do it, you're going to stand out. They're going to appreciate the fact that you took 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds to send them that personal message. And they may not transact with you right then and there or the next month, but they're going to remember you. And if you keep that type of communication going with them, they're going to work with you.
Yeah, so true. And for those, because I know that there's people in the audience that may be camera shy or unsure about going on video because they may not be like done up, what would be your advice to those that have some hesitation, how to overcome their hesitation and start utilizing such a powerful tool like video?
Yeah. So I tell everybody, you already have a business. You're a real estate agent. You close deals on a regular basis. You have no problem finding clients, walking them through the process, and then either helping them buy a home or sell their home. So what's the difference between how you interact with your clients on a daily basis and interacting with someone through video? There isn't a difference. It's just that when we put a camera in front of someone, it changes how we want to behave. And this happens to everyone, even trained actors. So you ever watch those late night TV shows like Jimmy Kimmel or The Tonight Show? Yeah. So in all of those shows, before the guests come out and before they cut to commercial, they typically go to the green room, right? So they can show who the next guest is before they come out. And they'll cut to the green room. And these are generally trained actors, professionals. And when the camera goes on them, almost all of them are weird and awkward.
Yeah.
There's this weird little smile. They suddenly realize the camera's on them. So they have a weird little smile and they give a weird little wave. Yet when they're on stage with the host, that's not the case.
Yeah.
They're completely relaxed. They're completely comfortable. So this happens to everyone, even trained actors. Unexpectedly, when you put a camera in front of them, sometimes they'll get a little weird and awkward. So the trick is to not stop it from happening, because it happens to everyone. It even happens to me on a regular basis to this day. I'm going to feel uncomfortable on camera sometimes. We all are. The trick is just to simply understand that it is happening and then just course correct, right? So that's the only difference. And I tell everyone, they say, how do you come across so charismatically on camera?
Yeah.
I really feel
or like a pro and
camera,
polished
that you're talking to me. I feel like you're just talking to me.
Yeah.
And that's the skill, is to look at the camera lens. And I always tell people, when you're first starting out, pick your favorite person to talk to. So if that's your spouse, amazing. If that's your child, fantastic. Best friend, doesn't matter who it is. Pick your favorite person who you love talking to. And that's who you imagine in the camera lens. So every time you're on camera, you're not talking to your clients, you're not talking to a bunch of people, you're talking to one person. And when you're talking to that one person, how you naturally behave, how you naturally sound, how naturally enthusiastic you are when you're telling a story will come across. Pick that one person who you love telling stories to and imagine them when you're looking into the camera.
Such good advice of picking that one person. So, Craig, where do you see trends going when it comes to the future of real estate marketing in our industry?
I think video's going to continue being the preferred method that people want to consume content and be educated about any topic. So I think the more agents can get on video now, if they're not already utilizing video, the more they can do it, even if it's just one-to-one, right? Even if it's like you were just saying, I see you put out a lot of content, Craig, and people always say that to me. We see you put out a lot of content, whether that's YouTube or Instagram. And I always tell them, believe it or not, that is a fraction of the amount of content that I'm actually putting out, because the majority of my videos are never seen by anyone else other than the intended recipient. So whether that's you, Raquel, receiving that personal video about an invitation to come speak at my No Agent Left Behind event, or a client, no one else is seeing those videos. But I'm putting out sometimes 10, 15, 20 of those a day to people, because that's how I communicate with them. So the majority of my videos, no one ever sees. And so if you're just doing that, if you're not even on social media, but you're just connecting with your clients through video regularly, you're going to win. And then if you can add in a social media component where people can now find you, you're visible, you're searchable, and people can see that, then even better. But I don't see that trend going away anytime soon. What I do think will shift is the quality of content that's out there. So a lot of people are putting out content that they think is going to get them attention, whether that might be doing something campy or funny, some weird dance on video. And hey, I'm not saying that kind of stuff doesn't work for people, but if you're trying to attract business, you got to be intentional about what you're putting out there. And is it of value to someone, right? Are they going to see this and go, yeah, I want to work with that person this was interesting. I'm appreciative of what they've given me here. I'm going to give them a call. Or are they simply going to say, that was funny, that was interesting, I enjoyed that person making me laugh for 10 seconds, and then they move on and forget about you.
Right.
So the intent behind your content has to be really thought out.
Yeah, I agree. I think the old trend of putting out as much content as possible, like you're starting to see even some of these video influencers be more strategic of making great quality over volume, right? Alex Hormozy was very notorious of saying volume, volume, volume. And now you're saying like Mr. Beast puts great quality content. Yes, do they do volume? But it's now quality. You're starting to hear them that really hits with people.
Absolutely.
And it's has a longer shelf life, I would say, especially when it comes to video. So
Yeah, my goal when I first started was to put out the best quality I
okay.
could, and quality on many levels. So the quality of film production. So I always tried to film in 4K or the highest quality that I could. Quality in terms of the content, so the actual information, and then quality in terms of the editing. And when I was starting out, I was doing it all myself. So when I first started out, the quality wasn't amazing. It was okay, but it was the best that I could do at the time. And all I did was every video, I just try to improve a little bit, just try to improve a little bit. And eventually your quality will be incredible. And no one's going to notice the subtle shifts
Right.
that you're making. All they're going to notice is the consistency and the fact that what you're putting out is valuable and that they like you. That's
Yeah.
it.
So good. And as we wrap up, there's always one question that I ask every single guest that comes on the show is what does
Okay.
Craig do to play bigger in business or in life?
So I actually did not know the concept of playing bigger until I met you and had you come and talk at the No Agent Left Behind event. And it's something that's now written down in my agenda. Thank you. And it's something that I'm going to be working on moving forward, not just through 2024, but beyond that as well. Because what I love about Raquel and her message is we all want to do great in business. We all want to achieve success, but don't think small. Don't limit ourselves, right? There's so much more that we can be doing. And that really came to the forefront when I finally got to meet you and listen to your keynote. So for me, this is a new concept, playing bigger. I've always had goals, and we all of us do, but now those goals are just a little bit larger, a little bit wider, a little bit deeper, because I think there's more room for me to risk more. There, I can always risk more. And that old adage, aim for the moon, and if you hit the stars on the way there, you've still achieved a lot more than you set out to.
So well said. Thank you, Craig, for being on our show today. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And I'm just excited to keep supporting you, my friend, in playing bigger with you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.